at this. You say to recap?
I said that's like a recap on what we will touch in several occasions. Going to court, finding how the rulings work in the advantage of you and family, community, even the systems of the nation. Now, I look at that and see how he got a ruling for a whole financial institution. I was jealous a little bit. I said, the Bank of Uganda just plays on people, even just the system itself. Somebody comes and robs you in daylight and even threatens you. I mean, hey.
But creation is groaning and it's waiting for the sons of God to arise. Uganda's creation is groaning. The injustices of the banks, the injustices of land disputes, the injustices of name it. Creation is groaning. And when creation is groaning, it's not just the humans. Because even when you have a pet, a dog, it groans along with you because it feels your pain. The trees groan along with you because they feel your pain, they see the injustice. The land groans along with you. It is why when you see a place becomes desolate, or people just, perish.
Just not cities. There's a city you go to. There was a place, a psych place that I was working to in Ohio. Just today, Bishop was mentioning that you don't be fooled. And I was saying, I agree, because I've experienced it before. This was a psych hospital, but it was known because it was run by Indians, right? It was known to partially harvest organs, right? But when you enter that place, if somebody has not told you and you are not sensitive spiritually, the the air or the atmosphere around just change is different. You enter in it and you feel like you have just knocked into something that is repulsive.
It's oppressive.
It's weighing down. And I say, what's wrong with this area? Then when you say even things do ground with you, I look around and I don't even see a proper residential place. Mobile homes, there are mobile homes that are modern and beautiful. This one are mobile homes that you see ancient RVs are the ones that are under trees. They try to fence the place. Is just smell of weed. And when you look at that, they say, doesn't the city care about this area? And I just like, makes so much sense that even the whole ground for which wickedness is done is not happy. It refuses, it rejects clauses.
Because the principalities over that place. The principal, yes, that will take and make a place desolate. Creation is waiting for the sons of God to arise.
I hear you. Yeah.
You
say even if somebody doesn't know that they engage the heavens and they are not even thinking that they have gone there, that feeling will wake you up. And I say, I go in other places and you feel the atmosphere is just open and free. And when you do inquire more, you know that people have created a portal there. There is a ascendancy that is accepting and is happy. And is holding also for light. For what I can pick out first. For light, if the atmospheres are like that.
But also in those places where it felt dark, there's also portals there that
of course, yeah.
which are for
absolutely, yeah.
Which are with those principalities taking over. But those principalities are created of God. And it depends if they have gone against, if they have believed the evil. And it's maybe they want the sons of God to preach Christ to them, or ask them if they want to come into Christ, to put them in the heart of the Father. Them to rediscover love. Because I think we go into battlefield warring. But, the battle is the Lord's. There's nowhere where he says we need to battle. The battle is the Lord's. If there's that principality, that is the Lord's battle. It's not for me to go and start engaging that principality. Because it is only the power of God that can overcome through Christ such a principality. But I think there's this engagement that we put in. And we see principalities start addressing. And before you know it, your life is in such a terrible place because you have gone into battle. Instead of saying, Christ, this is, the battle is the Lord's, and this I put back into your hands. I have nothing to do with it. But yeah, it's knowing our place. Of course, there are things in our lives which we have a jurisdiction over. Like our family, our marriages, what we are experiencing in our lives ourselves, those things that need to be restored. We have the right to take them still to the Father and address them and ask for what we want. Whereas maybe with a principality like that one you were saying in Ohio, you can just say, God, there's this experience. I don't know what it is that's here. That we give back to you. And at times, knowing that those things that where do we go with it? Of course, God can say, no, my daughter, this is a training ground. I want you to go and address that thing.
Right.
Yes.
It's different when you've had a voice.
Yes.
It's different when you receive the orders. Very different. Yeah, it makes a huge difference.
Yes.
So even with withdrawing judgments, that alone is a serious battle. Because you want to go really just fight because you are wronged and you feel it is unfair. And you want justice fast before you withdraw your judgment. I say that isn't this backward?
It is.
It feels so, but it's a serious victory right there. Who is going to be the one that gives you justice, judge of all? Yes. But you've gone ahead and said, withdrawing the judgments, that translates into repentance. You are repenting. But we get it backwards so much. You want to first release fire and release brimstone and lightning and earthquakes and stuff like that. And then you're exhausted. And you are not even rationalizing.
No, because behind all that is fear. Because while you're releasing brimstone and fire and brimstone, you're fearful that if I don't do this, this thing is coming for me. I better get it before it gets me. But actually, we're supposed to come
take it out first.
we're supposed to come into rest. Withdraw our judgments, because he said he's judge of all. Judge lest you be judged. Judge not lest you be judged. But we were justified. The thing about it is you are justified in feeling the way you felt, that there's an injustice. Then we thought that because there's an injustice, we then have to judge.
No.
And
not at all.
And those are the things, isn't it? Those are the things that separate us from our sonship. Because if you think that, oh, my father was like this, my father, maybe had 5 wives, my father did this, and then that is the injustice that he had however many wives. But the injustice is then we were not looked after well. you know, they took of our inheritance. They took of our love, you know, our love. My father was divided so much between all these families. And that becomes the injustice. And then we, instead of us going and asking for a just ruling, we start judging, calling names, putting names and labels on
another pillar of resistance.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be judged over that too. With
And
every word you utter, listen, you are justified by them words, and then the same words will be, you are condemned by them words.
Yes.
So,
and it's withdrawing all that such that there is nothing that stands in the way. Because then when you go to ask for justice, there's no judgments that are the judgments you've sent against other people, set against that are speaking out, you know. But I think the one thing to notice, although like this is a new thing in terms of judgments and withdrawing judgments and the origin, we are going to rulings. We are going to have, we shall have new things come each time.
Yeah.
Because he renews our minds, line upon line, precept upon precept. So each time we get to a position, he opens yet another, you know, understanding to. Yeah.
Makes him God. I mean, just like you see the water that is released out in the source, it's a proverb or somebody's saying. So the water the river source that will flow by you, you touch in that spot, you will not touch the same water twice. So you've touched that, you have experienced that spot, and the water has gone forever. So as the Lord works his revelation, as he's in the will and in the well. So with the will circle, you may not have an experience you had when you first received it. You come with an upgrade, and you go and you comes back with another level. So you are expected to be progressive as well. So when it comes around, you are able to catch the frequency and you are able to flow with the momentum.
And if you think about water, you know, water comes against all barriers. Yeah, you come against rocks, it will come against walls, it will come against trees, but it flows in non-resistance. It will hit a rock and it will go around it. And it will say, okay, there is a barrier there, it will go around it. And it's almost like we have to be non-resistant in our walk with Christ. That we don't have preconceived ideas, we don't have preconceived belief systems, we are in rest and we know we are flowing with Christ. That he's not going to let me go. He walks with me through the valley of the shadow of death. He doesn't let me go no matter what. And that is that is where I start. I am in his hands. I'm in him, he's in me. He doesn't let me go, even when the storms are raging and I have bollards and pillars and trees and everything around me. But in a non-resistant way, I can still navigate those things and go past them.
The preconceived notion that we need to show something that we can go against a torrent. Gotta be flowing, like you say. When resistance shows up, you know, that is a thing you take to the Father, first of all. You need to be flowing. From the very throne of the Father flows the waters of life. So it won't stop, but it's flowing. It won't force to flow through something, but it's still flowing. With all confidence, still flowing. It will not flow as fearing, will flow past or around, but it will still progress in flowing.
And just to pause there a bit, I just wanted to find out, did you try to go to your origin rulings? Have you tried it out? Did you see anything?
I did. I did do for myself.
Oh, thank God for that.
I
You
did do for
considered
myself, yeah.
yourself this time.
Oh, by the way, yes. Interesting, yeah. That I've always no, I did for myself, but you know what? I after a little bit, instead of waiting, I went and did for a few other people. Then I said, but I need to have really waited, because when I came back and waited, a few things surfaced. And a few things got disclosed. You know, a judgment surfaced. And then working with those, yeah. Pulling out, just withdrawing judgments and waiting for his judgment. Withdrawing judgments and waiting for his judgments. Yes. Yes. So I'm happy that it's happening for me too.
That's a change, isn't it? That you considered yourself first, which is usually not the way.
Which is so bad, because you need to be whole to be effective. Yeah. You it may even be a weapon that you are spent before even you have a little bit of leftover for yourself to continue on your feet.
Did you manage? I mean, some people saw the dragon and all that. I wonder whether you saw anything like that.
I saw, like, I could call it a dragon, because it was really huge, massive, you know. And when I went back after I started that, you know, I went back to really wait, and other things surfaced, you know. It was like a go down, a basement. When you stand on the top landing, and you can see basements from a landing, first landing. You can see down. If it is just a single flight, you are always able to see a basement, or if that is the kind of model you have. But there was a whole place was covered dark with a snake that had one eye. Okay, I wouldn't see the other one. Maybe they were both there, because now it was like I could see, like here from here.
Yeah,
see
you saw one side.
But the whole place was like something that was full of air, like a balloonish body. You see the skulls, but what he had filled, like, really, if you are down there, you could go over it.
Had it eaten all your treasures?
Filled. In fact, it was maybe like suffocating, I don't know. But it was full. The whole place was full of this dark, massive thing. And I looked at it. I didn't challenge it. I just looked at it. But when I remembered that this place is going to be empty, and when I looked there, it was empty. But you know what I did? I didn't take the treasures. I filled it in case it's going to come back. Isn't that weird? I filled it with all that I thought of, like when you cleanse the origin gate, you are praying positive things in that gate. I filled it with things. And then I set a throne, I set a seat of justice, and I set the angels in guard. I said, was that enough to fill this whole area with? Because I didn't want it to come back and occupy it again. But I said, was that fair? Then when I went back, when I took a break, I started doing origin gates for my siblings. Then I just said, no, I have to come back here. Then I waited. I just like came back and waited. No, I waited, and other judgments came up. I withdrew that and just thank God for his judgment for it. And another one came and said, ooh, I thought I dealt with that. But again, what is behind it really? So I withdrew it very fast because I didn't want to start challenging it. It has come up as a judgment. I needed to just withdraw the judgment and receive a judgment and set up justice in the place and receive what the gate is supposed to function as. Yeah. So I'm still like, after they come, I take it up and work on it and implement.
It's interesting because you said the snake, which was full of all the treasures, he had actually swallowed all the treasures, was in the like a basement is almost like the foundation, isn't it? If you're thinking about a landing and you're going into the basement, you're actually going to the place where a foundation sits. And it feels
the basement, yeah.
Yeah, it feels like it was seated in your foundation.
That's exactly what the foundation is in the basement. I'm saying, what?
So in my mind, it feels like your foundation had this thing eating all your treasures. Any that came, it was just swallowing.
It's a big, it didn't occur to me to pluck out the treasures. But, as I just was like, oh, it's not there now. It's just like I'm shoveling things in there. That's what I said, I'm going to put in as much. Yeah. I'm going to release as much virtues. I'm going to release all that I ever think of as we don't have. I release.
And also the thing though with this stuff is if you've been to a place, you can always visit it. You can always go back and get the treasures out, or you can call them out or ask the Father to release them. Because the main thing was to get rid of that overinflated serpent.
Snake, dragon snake,
Snake. Yeah, because some of them are like
dinosaur. It didn't have the scales, but man, that was massive.
He had chewed and chewed. But it's those, God can still replace those things if you ask for them, because as soon as it vomits them, it's done. It's not in the gate. You've replaced someone in the gate.
I did that.
Because our foundation is a gate. You know that. So it is sat in the foundation of your life. That is a gate. And it's that gate that was being taken control over.
Massively. Yeah.
So it's not the thing about, I think, when it comes to the things we see, it's where was it? It was dark. Your foundation had darkness around it with this thing just continuously just chewing anything that was meant for you.
It was dark.
At 5, she was supposed to be, let me swallow. At 6, it just kept, it was nearly bursting point, but it would have gone on and on and on.
Even to see that eye side of the eye, it was like there was a flashlight, just enough when you could flash there, you could see how massive it is, how much it was, just like enough flashlight. It was not like a basement was lit. Yeah, it was that. But once it vanished, oh my God, I saw how huge it was. The place was really good and big, and it got clean, and I said, no way, I'm going to pack this place. Yeah. Yeah, a bit excited. I just moved on very fast. I said, maybe let me get it for somebody else in my family. But I said, no, let me go back. I need to find out something more.
You're always thinking of someone else, which is good. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think, like you're saying, you need to be sorted. And if you're not,
I had not only you, somebody else did say that, and even my bishop said that. I said, do mind yourself fast. I was like, that's a good rebuke, It's like the aeroplane, first get your own before you can help another person with their issue of needing oxygen. You need oxygen to be able to help.
Yeah, it's true. And I mean, it's even, you know, I was especially thinking is if we're to go back into the injustices done against us. I was thinking about this very present injustice with the land and the court cases.
We still have failed to share that video with you.
Because I haven't.
When we did go to court, we did. You know, you did mention origin, but I had not really heard about it. Yeah. So you called out the origin and you called out where the case, how it started. But I remember from what I heard, what I'd known about the grandparents. So for how it happened, how that person came to be there, they gave him a portion out of good heart. Yeah, out of good heart, the grandfather was merciful to this person and said, well, you can be there, you can be there. And made a boundary with them. And then he got married and got 2 sons. And then he divided that little portion he was given
between his 2 sons.
Between his 2 sons. And now the sons, the
grandchildren, as it were.
The grandchildren, yeah. The grandchildren of this gentleman.
But it's knowing that those, you know, that injustice is, you know, has been brought before God. That it's an injustice against your family. Out of the goodness of the heart of your granddad. This now has become an injustice because greed has come into it. Usurping, you know, wanting to usurp everything, swallow up, is the injustice. And those things have been presented before the Father. And at times it's just knowing, keeping our peace. Because I don't think that court case will go anywhere.
I'll have the confidence too. I feel it. I feel that because even when they think they're going to sit to discuss it and see way forward for it, I see it getting thrown out. I see it get thrown out because we ordered the filing of the verdict in this month's very hard as well. And on the land, we did file a verdict there. And in everybody in the family has the record. So in revisiting that, I'm sure when I revisit, I'll just be revisiting with Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving. And say, this is going to be done in our favor for reasons that withdrew the judgment. And we are being served justice.
It's true. Because I think, you know, these are the things that need to be restored. Cause disputes amongst family members or, you know, friends. You know, I don't know whether they are relatives or they're just friends. But, you know, these disputes also is part of the things that we need to restore. And remembering the love of God. Even for that young man who now is causing a lot of chaos. That actually, if the love of God could be, you know, released to him through forgiveness, maybe he might then come into his own, you know, into his own blueprint and start to walk upright in Christ. That he's not locked up, you know, by judgments. Because remember, I did say to you once that I was just thinking about the Bible and how the Bible is just the experience of the words in the Bible is an experience of our lives, or it's to our lives. And one day I was just thinking, God brought to my mind, I wasn't even reading it, and he said, he quickened within my mind that actually, when we judge people, when we hold negative thoughts about them, hurts and pains, and cause judgment, we are like Pharaoh. we are holding God's people in judgment. We are imprisoning them. We become taskmasters because of whatever, and we keep them there until they become right in our minds, that we don't let go of that judgment because we feel so justified that they did it. But actually, that keeps God's people locked up, becoming beholden to us because we have taken our pain, our heart, and justified it in holding them. But if we let go, like Christ say to Pharaoh, let my people go. Let your judgments go. Let your heart go. Give it back to me. Withdraw all judgment so that even those who are departed are set free from your judgments. Because they're not my people, they are God's people.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. No, it also just think a parable. You know, there is a king, it was a king, I think, and then he forgave one who had so much debt. And this one who was forgiven of much debt had one other person who owed him something meager. But the master was grieved when he said, I forgave you so much. Wouldn't you have shown compassion to your other fellow man, like I did to you? Now, I don't know how that is related, but it just came. And I say, you know, the Father who is the master had done a service on the cross, the everlasting Lamb of God dying. You receive that forgiveness, but you cannot forgive. This person's forgiveness from you could have released this person into their blueprint, as you said, into life, into receiving a new perspective of doing life. Because what they know now, they are held in our not having mercy on them, not forgiving them, that like the master of all forgave us, and he has now given us a free redemption, as I could think of.
Yes.
But we couldn't allow somebody who's blinded to receive their sight to walk their blueprint. Makes sense thinking about it.
Yes, because if we're free people, we are free ourselves. We are free of holding them in prison. We are free of, making them beholden to us for an injustice we think they did. That until you pay me back, or until you change your ways, I'm not even willing to have a relationship with you, not even willing to pray for you. I'll sit here and pray brimstone and fire upon you and everything. Oh, Jesus. Brimstone and fire. We can quote the words. Yeah? No weapon forged against me will prosper. The kingdom of God has suffered violence, and the violent forcefully take it. Or take it by force. So you start. But the word says, the war is not against flesh and blood.
Yes, yes.
But we quickly forget that.
It sounds easy. Is it easy? You have to see where it's coming from which heart. The heart of love won't stir up destruction. No. So deal with your brother in love, because if you are dealing with your brother in love, you'll be able to have the grace to forgive 70 times 70.
Yes.
You will be able even to have time to pray and get a chance to, like, give me a chance to talk to this person. Maybe, love will make you be creative in a good sense to make this person preserved. But actually, if I'm going to be violent, you say, I will ask for unique weaponry, right?
Yes.
Very weaponry that will outmatch this one coming against me, right?
Yes. And it's, you know, what maybe might make it simple or easy is guarding our relationship with God jealously. That my relationship with God is so important.
Agree.
That I can't be asked to be thinking about land. I can't be asked to be thinking about those words you spoke about. I can't be asked because my relationship is so much better than me focusing on that. Let me focus on my relationship with God and let God look at that issue. Because when it's seen through his eyes, it is easily managed. When it's seen through my eyes, judgments, persecution, you know, whatever name it comes out. But we have to run to the Father and get our eyes off of people.
Yeah, but that gives you a place to rest too. You're not taking it in your own hands. It's not the flesh and blood, or it is not by might or power.
No.
So where the Spirit comes from, it will come in your place of surrender. From a point or from a realm of relating well with the Father, because when you trust that will come through for you and for the good of the other. And he knows exactly how he's going to do it. You are not going to give orders and say, okay, now that I'm here, can you do it this way? And then please, can you strangle them this very second? And
sort them out for me quickly. I'm tired of seeing them here.
If you had the powers to control their traffic light, they will stay in that dread forever.
Yeah, it's so interesting. The way we want, you know, quick justice. And quick justice is not even justice. We're looking for punishment.
Oh, see that?
Yeah. We're looking for people to be punished. It's not necessary. Because even actually when you give up what people are fighting for and put it in the hands of the Father, you gain more. Because it might be that this person has just stepped on the wrong thing and everything is handed to the Father and he says, okay, since you thought you would come and you take that, then you give back good measure, pressed down, shaken together. Because you took. But my judgment is that now you have to give even more. And it's not you making that judgment. It's God the Father making the judgment.
Amen. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Well,
I agree.
I'll stop the video because we've got less than a minute.
Yeah.